Hey everybody, Larry Lawton here. Got a good video for you today, I really do. This video is kids meet a bank robber. Kids are so cute, man. I do love kids, so I got a kick of this and I thought I'd review it because a lot of thoughts came into my head the way he answered the questions and stuff like that. So I'm gonna get into this video in a little bit. Before I get started, please check me on the YouTube member programs. Check me on Patreon, check me on Discord. Please check my book out, Gangster Redemption. Great book. Now, we're gonna get into this. This was a guy who did a bank robbery, ended up doing time, and he's an artist as well. But he sits down with kids, and these kids ask questions. Boy, it had me smiling, it really did. So I thought I would review this, and I think we're gonna have some fun with this one.
You know the car they bring money to the bank?
Yes.
What part did you rob, the truck or the bank?
I robbed the truck.
How did you do that?
How did you know all the difference between all this stuff?
Isn't that hilarious? What kids know blows me away. You know, I'm a guy who has grandkids. I interact with a lot of young people. I'm a big believer in the young people because they're so smart. It's amazing to me what kids know, even with technology. They literally could take a phone from me and know more than me, and they might be 5 years old. I know it's crazy, but it's true. It's amazing what kids grasp, and I want you to think about this. Think of the questions they answer. And you know, here's the good part about kids too. They do this shit without any malice or any, you know, thinking about what they're saying. And sometimes there's merit to that. You know, saying it off the cuff is merits. I do a lot of that. Sometimes I think I get in trouble doing too much of it. But let's keep going.
Hi, what's your name?
I'm Jessie.
I'm Anthony.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
My name is Celine. Nice to meet you.
Wow! It's very professional.
Thank
I like
you.
I like that coat. You look very professional.
Thank you. Okay, so what are we here to talk about?
You know, what strikes me right off the jump street is the way the guy's dressing. Good for him. He's dressed in jeans and a t-shirt. I'm like that. You guys know you won't see me really dress up. I do my news show and I put a shirt on. That's the biggest thing I do. Of course, I got my shorts on underneath the table. It's funny. Everyone knows. You know, everyone thinks, yeah, I wear shorts. That's pretty much what I wear all the time. Shorts. But he wore t-shirts and jeans and sneakers, and that's kind of like me here. And he's getting questions from these kids. And the guy is very intelligent.
You know why you're here?
I do.
Why are we here?
Because of something that you did in 2008.
See, here's an older kid. These kids are right at the right age. They're starting to think. And you can even see the way he asked that.
Are you a bank robber?
I was a bank robber.
Yes.
You're a bank robber?
Basically kind of a bank robber.
I was a bank robber. Well, that's funny. Of course, you don't make much money being a bank robber. Nobody really ever does. What do I say I was? Larry was I guess a jewel robber. I guess I could say instead of a bank robber, a jewel robber. But I was more than that. And I'm not bragging on this. Hold on, I want to get that straight. You know, I was a mobster. I was a businessman. I was a partier. I wasn't just a jewel robber. I mean, I was associated with the mob. I did so many different things. So it's hard for me to just understand even a bank robber. And I get his situation, and we're gonna hear about that here in a minute.
I was addicted to drugs. Now that's a whole different story.
You see, he was a bank robber who was addicted to drugs, which most of them are. I was never addicted to drugs. I wasn't addicted to anything when I was doing what I was doing. I was who I was. I was a criminal. And again, not to brag on that or be proud of that, because I don't want anybody to think that's the way to go. But that's just the way I grew up. That's the way I thought. I wasn't a drug addict. Most of them are. I don't know if that's good or bad, and hopefully they could just kick that habit and then not do what they did. What does scare me though is, can they kick the habit, or if they go back on the habit, do they want to rob a jewelry store again? I changed totally from the inside. I hope people don't. Of course, I'm a believer in rehabilitation. But think about what I just said there. That's a really good one. Think about that.
So it made me really, really think kind of stupid.
Why did you say a bad word?
What did I say?
Stupid.
How funny a kid thinks the word stupid is a bad word. I guess they don't watch this channel, that's for sure. A little young, but I guess they're not going to watch this channel. Because sometimes I use bad language. I just can't help it. It's just who I am. But they're so cute. I mean, what sticks in their mind?
I did? Look, I wasn't very smart.
During the robbery, were you on drugs?
I was always on drugs.
See, that kid is asking questions that he thought about. Now, hear what he just said? He was always on drugs when he did robberies. I guess that's a true addict. I partied, did all the drugs in the world. Never was I high or on any kind of drug or anything like that. I had to have a clear head.
What part did you rob? The truck or the bank?
I robbed the truck.
How did you do that?
How did you know all the difference between all this stuff?
I watch movies.
Okay, well, yes, I robbed a Brinks armored car.
Society like idealizes like good heist movies like Ocean's 11 or Thomas Crown.
These are great movies.
Wow, how did that kid know about the Thomas Crown affair or Ocean's 11? I just think it's cool. I mean, he's watching old movies, and I'm sure he's watching them with his dad or, you know, his older brothers or whatever, because they're old movies that I love. You don't see young kids like those kind of movies. But the kid is asking questions. This kid is in like heaven asking these questions. And I'm guessing this kid's about 12, 13. I would get these questions from some of my grandkids.
I was kind of like too fascinated in your story.
Yeah, it's probably not a good thing.
That is true. Young kids get fascinated in my story. But I hope they get fascinated in the part of the rehabilitation, or that you can change. As I tell people when I sign my book, this book is pretty wild. It's a rough book. I talk about prison, abuse, strap downs, pissed on, how I robbed jewels. I literally talk all about that. But I also show in the book how you can change and develop the #1 program in the country for kids. So I hope they get that, and I hope they're more fascinated with that part. We don't know.
What is exactly your story?
I placed an ad like I was an employer for people to show up at the bank at the same time. And when people responded saying, yes, I'd like the job, I wrote back and I said, okay, show up at the bank at 11, make sure to wear a blue shirt, a blue hat, and a safety vest, the same outfit that I was wearing. The day of the robbery, the armored car pulls in, the guy gets out, and he's just doing his thing, kind of walking by him, and then turns to him, pepper sprays him, takes the money, and then takes off.
Pretty good move with the bringing other people there who are not in the robbery. But in today's technology, I'm surprised they couldn't find out at least where it was done from. And if it was done from a library, that's good, because usually you'll have surveillance or someone will recognize someone. Goes to show you the in-depthness of this guy's case. I'd like to know how he got caught. I don't know if it says it in this, but I'd like to know how he got caught, because all that communication with all those people has got to give somebody a lot of information. You answer them back, you put the ad, you do this. There's internet traces. He robbed 400,000. You know, listen, that was a take for me. That was one robbery. So I don't know how many times he did that either.
I was last seen running like towards this highway, and on the other side there's this little stream that no one really knows about. And God, you know what an inner tube is?
Yeah.
I went down, threw the money into the inner tube, got on my back and pulled myself upstream. Went up this little hill, got in the trunk of a car, and my buddy drove off.
You know, the guy is pretty smart. Obviously, to think of his getaway that deeply, I think that's great. That's what you're supposed to do, obviously. But that's what makes successful criminals. His problem was he's a drug addict. But obviously it seems like he's doing well now, and that makes me feel good, because I hate to see people keep going in the cycle of going back to prison. And sadly it happens, and the recidivism rate is very high. So I hope that doesn't happen. I relate a lot of this story to me, the planning and how I got away and everything else. And, you know, reaction to kids too is pretty cool.
I went home to my wife and 2-year-old and 15-day-old baby.
Wow. Why did you do it when you were in such a good position?
I was desperate.
First of all, the kids think now, obviously goes to show you how smart they are, but he did it with young kids. He had a 15-day-old young kids. I had a 15-month-old when I got caught, and a 7-year-old, just turned 7. So it's rough. That's really rough. I'm sure this guy's thinking. He's really thinking hard about everything right now.
And it was like we had this house. On the outside, you'd be like, wow, you know, he's got everything, but I was losing everything.
How much money did you steal?
I stole $400,000.
I thought you stole $9 million.
Are you not impressed? I don't know if he's supposed to be impressed.
Now the robber's saying, well, he's not impressed with 400,000. If I told the kid I robbed 15, 18 million, I think he'd be impressed. But that was over a long scan. I don't know this whole guy's story. I just get a kick. The kids ask the crazy question, or what goes through their mind. This kid wants to be something big. I'm telling you, this kid here is going to be big. When you're thinking that 400,000 is not enough, you need 9 million. He's got good high goals.
So, obviously there's one flaw in your plan.
Yeah. A week and a half before the robbery happened, I was doing a time run. Time is very important. You know why time's so important when you're committing crimes? No, I'm teaching you guys how to commit crimes. Why do you think time's so important?
Is it the math times?
Oh, I know. If you're like going to work and you're still sleeping in bed, the time just smack you in like smack.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
I love it. Where the kids go off. You go, what's going through their mind? He's trying to explain to them the timing of something and how you have to know when people are coming and going. Of course, timing meant everything to me, and I talk about that. Timing when you do things, robberies, or, it's down to the second. It has to be just the way it is, man. You got to do that. But let's continue with the kids. I'm smiling.
So I did a time run to get from the bank to the creek, to the creek, to the car. Now, I don't think I'm doing it in my head. I'm not doing anything wrong that day.
You hear what he said? He's casing the place and doing his getaway and planning it, and he doesn't think he's doing anything wrong. It was like me when I was casing places. I didn't do anything wrong, and I knew I couldn't get caught for anything, so I didn't change the license plate on the car. And a lady got a license plate, and that's eventually how I got caught. So when you think of that, that is kind of doing the crime, and it's a conspiracy at no less, at minimum.
This homeless man's like, hey, I know what that stuff is, and I blew him off, okay? What happened is this guy called in the police. It was enough for them to basically get surveillance and follow me around. Meanwhile, the crime happens a week later, and I'd gone to a gas station, thrown away a bottle, okay? They waited until I drove off, retrieved the bottle, tested it for DNA, ding, ding, ding. I was caught by a homeless guy.
Did you think you would get caught?
No. Why would I do it if I did?
Well, I'm going to disagree with him. Did he think I was... I never thought I'd get caught that way, but I always deep down knew I was eventually either going to die or be in jail for life. That was my thought. You don't think you're going to get caught per se in it because you're smart, you figured it out. But, deep down, maybe when he's older, he's going to think differently. Me, as a 60-year-old guy, I think totally different now. It's that invincibility of young and being young. That's so amazing. And I hope people never lose that. I hope you guys out here go for businesses or go for something. Don't lose that. Don't get into crime, but I hope you don't lose that. I really do.
That's kind of how a criminal thinks. Right?
Stupid.
You said it. That's right. Yes.
The girl said the stupid word that was a bad word. Did he teach you? It's funny because, I do have not the greatest language in the world. So, I slip and I curse in front of grandkids and stuff, and people, I'll get looked at and whatever, and it is who I am. But when I really think down deep, if the worst thing a kid in today's world hears the word fuck or bullshit or fuck this shit or whatever, they're doing pretty good because there's a lot of bad shit out there, and you better start preparing people for it.
Did you went to jail for it?
I went to jail.
So how long have you been in jail?
I was sentenced to 6 years in prison.
Now, he was sentenced to 6 years. He probably, and it's a federal crime, bank robbery, so he probably did 4.5, 5. He's got to do 85% of his time if it's that, unless there's more people involved and he snitched and everything else. I don't know if that is true. Again, I don't know the guy's story. I'm not going to hate on him. He was sentenced to 6 years, so he probably did 5 years, 5.5, or whatever it is, 5 and a few months. Let's hear the older kid. This kid gives good questions.
Prison is this like absolutely wretched place in the movies. Like, what was it like in real life?
I love the kid's word, wretched. Good for this kid. This kid's an educated interviewer.
Like when you watch a TV show, there's like somebody getting stabbed all the time or whatever. No, like that does happen, but it's not violent and crazy all the time. It's just so depressing that you can almost feel it.
Well, he explained that right, but again, this kid didn't go to a penitentiary, I can guarantee that. The violence and the feel of tension is a lot more than the feel of depression. Yes, depression is there. Everybody has to deal with it. We all do. But a little bit different on this case. So I think he went to a medium. And prison it's not even in penitentiary, it's not a stabbing every day. It happened, but it's not every day. And it's amazing how this kid wanted to know that. And this is what they get perceptions of. And the question, and how about the word wretched? Good for this kid.
I remember that I used to visit my dad when in prison, and then my dad came back from prison.
And what was that day like?
It was the happiest day of my life.
I bet you it was the happiest day of your dad's too.
Wow. Let me tell you something, people. That piece right there hit my heart. It really did. Thinking about my kids and my son and daughter and me not being there, and that kid is still young enough to get his father back young. My daughter was 13, so she wasn't. My son was a man already. Again, I'm blessed to have a great relationship with both of my kids. And that kid felt it, and he's right. Seeing your kids for the first time, you're so nervous, you don't even get it. You can't experience it all. But it's right. And I used to write them, and I did everything when I was away. Everything. But it's just an amazing thing.
What would have happened if you hadn't got caught?
I would have kept doing other stuff. They would have gotten bigger and bigger and bigger and...
So are you glad you got caught?
Yes.
Very true. I kept doing more and more and more and more, and the guy's right. I was just lucky I never did anything that was so bad. It was like without a statute of limitations, and it was like anybody got hurt or anything like I or kidnapped anyone. Nothing like that I did, and thank God. So I think of that in a big way. Totally think of that in a big way. And he's right. I'm glad I got caught. You don't think of that at first, but I'm glad I got caught. So I look at that, and I give this guy a lot of credit. He's smart.
Would you do it again?
No. Well, you know why?
Yeah.
The main reason why was not so much prison and that I got punished and all the things that happen in prison. It was that I was away from my kids.
Wow. Again, the reason I wanted to do this. Prison was bad enough. We all know that. I talk about it all the time. But the biggest part of not going back is he didn't want to lose his kids. Now, I'm even different. I don't want to lose my grandkids. I see them 3, 4, 5 times a year, depending now, and I just love it. And when I see them on FaceTime, it just brightens my day no matter what I'm doing. So I totally get it. It really is more about that, not about the money, not about the abuse I took. And I went to a tough prison. We all know that I was strapped down naked, beaten, tortured. It's in the book. I didn't have a great way of it, and it sucked. And people who know that, when you read the book, you understand why I do what I do. But I felt this is what really made me feel, people. This really did.
I cared about them, right? And so I started drawing them pictures, and I would send them home, and I knew they were little, but they'd look at the picture probably for a second, and then they'd, put it away, but at least they would know that their daddy drew that picture for them. And I started making books for them, okay, like happy birthday book, and then I would make stories.
Yeah, you see that in prison all the time, and that's what got me. Now, if he was in federal prison, he would have been in a lower security than me, so I wouldn't have saw him. But I got it, there is so much talent in prison. Art talent, leather talent. I bought I remember I bought from a guy who did leather work. I had a belt made, a championship wrestling belt made, an actual belt. It's pretty cool, I gotta say that. And I bought a lot of stuff from people who are artists. And, you know, I have pictures on my walls of people's stuff done by people in prison. It'll blow you away. It will blow you the fuck away. Now that was done by an inmate. Think of that. That's gorgeous, just gorgeous. The talent is off the chart. Look at this other picture. Martin Luther King and Barack Obama in the White House. Forget the political affiliation. It has nothing to do with that to me. Look at the artwork. Look at the detail in the White House. Amazing. Just amazing, talented people. And sadly, it's mostly wasted talent. At least this guy didn't waste his talent.
Well, when I came home from prison, I just made my own books. At first, no one bought them. But then I had one book that became a bestseller. I got really, really lucky, and I was able to again buy a house so my family could all live together again.
Do you make a lot of money writing books?
I'm making more money writing books than I did when I was a criminal.
See that? He's making more now than he was when he was a criminal. That's the case usually, especially with like bank robbers or people who don't do stuff. If they become a regular worker, you know, you try to tell a person about easy money. You know, oh, they want easy money of a drug dealer. They make it then, but what's your career path? Are you gonna have more money at the end of the year, you know, when you're ending your career or where you're going? If you worked or if you're robbed in the beginning, it's gonna be worked because you're gonna get caught and you're gonna be paying legal fees and you're lucky if you have any. I got out of prison in debt, robbed all that money and got out of prison in debt because you never save, and that's just all people. But this guy hit it on the button. You make more now, no matter what you're doing, pretty much, even though he's doing well, than he did then.
These are based after my daughters,
What are their names?
Isabella and Lila, and they're detectives in that. And they gotta find out who stole the cake.
Isn't that ironic?
It's very ironic.
Where are these kids coming up with ironic? Good for them. Am I just lost that these kids are so smart? But you know, I see it in my grandkids, so they're so smart.
Do you think you're a good role model for kids?
No. There's a lot to learn from people who fail. I am a great example of what not to do.
Good question. People ask me if I'm a role model. I know a lot of people want me to be. Let me tell you something, guys. I am not perfect. I fuck up all the time. To be a role model is hard for me. I try to do the right thing as far as treating people. And I hope I'm a good role model in that way. I treat people, all people, with respect. And I am an example of what not to do. Don't get caught up in this game. And I hope that's the biggest message I have with everybody, because I think this guy said it right. And that's why, again, I like this video. So I thought the video, you know, clicked on a few things that were great. And it made me smile. It really did. It made me smile. So you guys have a great day. Please make good choices. I hope this is a little bit of smiling video. We got a lot of stuff. It's hard for me to do negative videos with all the shit going on in the world right now. Smile today. We're here. Have a good day. Say hello to everybody. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Have a great day. Take care. See you soon.